Hi guys, this is Misty from the Book Rat, and I'm here with you today for a super quick beach reads review of Tweetheart by Elizabeth Rudnick. Quickly, this is a novel told in tweets, blog posts, and emails, so kind of an interesting format. It is about Claire, who is super shy and has a crush on the popular boy in school, of course. Charlotte, aka Lottie, who is her best friend, very gregarious and a bit of a man-eater. Will, who has a crush on Claire. And Bennett, who kind of throws a wrench in the works by trying to be helpful and maybe not so much. And is kind of a jerk, but with a heart of gold, yeah? Okay, so I was really dubious about this, I have to say, which is funny because I blog, obviously. I have a Twitter account, I email constantly, but I was really unsure of how well those things would work in this kind of novel format. Like, how much of a story can you really get on Twitter? Other than Very Short Story, which is a good, fun Twitter you should follow. But it actually worked surprisingly well. I was amazed by the amount of depth that Elizabeth Rudnick was able to get into the story just using mostly tweets, an occasional blog post, an occasional email, but it was mostly tweets and direct messages on Twitter. And yet, I didn't really feel like the story was lacking or that it was even forced. A lot of times when something is told like this, or you have like an epistolary novel where it's told in letters, everything feels really forced. The characters are rehashing things that have happened so that you've got the plot going, but it doesn't feel authentic. Who's really going to give you a play-by-play of everything that happened when both parties were there, they saw it happen? It's just unnecessary. This actually worked, though, because it did feel like teens chatting, you know, getting off of school and texting each other, tweeting each other, can you believe this happened, can you believe so-and-so said something? It felt really authentic. The characters felt authentic, the way they were communicating with each other felt real. It didn't feel forced for the format or for their age group. And so it actually worked really, really well. And of course, it also has the added benefit of making it a very quick read. So I have to say I was really pleasantly surprised by this one. Even more so than that, I think, of course it's completely predictable, but it's predictable in the way that every romantic comedy movie is predictable. You know exactly who's going to end up together and what's going to happen before you go in. Doesn't stop you from buying the tickets and having a good time. So yes, you know what's going to happen, you know who's going to end up together and how they're going to end up together, but it's still really enjoyable watching it happen. And more so than that, I was kind of surprised, and I'm going to show my lit nerdiness right now, but it's actually kind of a very, very modern take on the Cyrano de Bergerac story, which was really interesting. I wasn't expecting a Cyrano story out of this at all. But it's definitely got those threads and that kind of heft behind it, and the good antics and the craziness and the miscommunication and the mistaken identities and all of that. Like, it really works and is fun on that level, which added a lot to it that I wasn't expecting from something like this. So I was surprised by that, and I have to hand it to Rudnick for being able to not only peg her characters and their age group and the audience that this is aimed at, but also bringing something more to the table. One thing that I was a little bit dubious about, and I'm always dubious about, is the quickness of pop culture. I'm always very hesitant when anyone uses kind of flash in the pan pop culture references, because it's going to give your book a shelf life of like 0.2 seconds. So there were things in this, little inside jokes and silly cultural references, that I think are going to be funny now to the people that get them, but I think some of them are already on their way out by the time the book is published. And I think within a year or two, especially for the age group, these kids aren't going to know what is being talked about. It always makes me a little hesitant when I see things like that, because it's dating the book. And it might cause a disconnect with readers, especially for this age group and this style of story. So I guess we'll see. I can't really speak to that yet. it's one of those things that only time will tell. But it's not something that I think would outweigh the benefits of picking this up. It is not saturated with those types of things. So even if you're going to occasionally say, what is that about? Or you vaguely recall it, but you're like, okay, I don't get that, or that joke's old, whatever. It's not in it so much that it's going to make you feel like this book is crap and I want to throw it. It's not like that at all. So I think it's definitely worth picking up, especially if you've got either a kid who's very tech savvy and very social media and into all that, or has a short attention span, because it's obviously a format that's well suited to that and is going to hold their interest and be over quickly enough that they won't mind necessarily that they're reading, and will be quite pleased with themselves if they read a book. Look, a whole book, I'm done. So that's Sweetheart by Elizabeth Rudnick. I'd say definitely worth picking up. Super cute and fun, and I am not a contemporary person, I am not a cute, fun, girly person, and I really liked it. So, just saying, if you want to try something new, or you want to give a little shake up to your reads, and you don't think that this would normally be the book for you, especially with this cover, try it. Really fun. Cyrano story, come on, yeah.